These niggas with attitudes. Look at these niggas with attitudes. Look at these niggas with attitudes. Look at these niggas with attitudes. Hello. I started this gangsta shit, and this the motherfucking things I get. Hello. I started this gangsta shit, and this the motherfucking things I get. The motherfucking world is a ghetto, full of magazines, full clips, and heavy metal when the smoke settles. I'm just looking for a big yellow. It's 6-inch stilettos, Dr. Dre. Hello. Percolating, keep 'em waiting while you sitting there hating. Your bitch is hyperventilating, hoping that we penetrating. You get snating, cause I never been to Satan. For hardcore administrating, gangbang affiliating. MC Winner had you wildin' off a zone in a whole half a gallon. Hit the gallon. 911 emergency, you can tell him. It's my son, he's hurting me, and he's a felon. On parole for robbery, ain't no copping a plea. Ain't no stopping a G. I'm in the 6, you got to hop in the 3. Company monopoly, you handle shit sloppily. I drop a key properly. They call me the Don Dada, pop a collar, drop a dollar. If you hear me, you can holler, even Rockwaller. Follow the Impala, wanna talk about this concrete nigga? I'm a scholar, the incredible, heterosexual, credible, beggar hoe, let it go. Dick ain't edible, nigga ain't federal. I plan shit while you handpick motherfuckers giving up transcripts. I started this gangsta shit, and this the motherfucking things I get. Hello. I started this gangsta shit, and this the motherfucking things I get. Hello. I started this gangsta shit.
Guys, I'm just letting the music play to get more people coming in. About another minute, and then we'll go ahead and start the stream. It'll be not a long stream, but I promise it'll be insightful. Stay tuned.
This motherfucker thought the coochie had a padlock. You slapped her ass, that's alarming. Cause she want my worm like Carmen. We chin check niggas, them dead check niggas. Run trains, don't go niggas. Beware these faux niggas. Scare motherfuckers like Stephen King.
By the way, shout out to everybody here on the Labudo Network. Shout out to all you faithful viewers as we work together to grow this thing and to expand our minds, expand our knowledge, keep our eyes open, help unveil the mask of what's out there, what they're telling us. What they're telling us is truth, which isn't truth. Peeling off the mask of indoctrination and propaganda. And thank you guys for tuning in. This is yours truly, Matt. I had a stream last night. It was a wild stream that was simulcast over here as well as on my channel. That kind of stream is typical on par for the streams I do on my channel and on my side of YouTube. This stream right now is going to be a bit more grounded. And as I was driving home, I said, you know what? Let me touch on this subject a bit because I know that there are some of you that are fans of entertainment, especially comic book related stuff. Very quickly though, yes, I have dogs here, so forgive me. Very quickly, let me just do a little interpromotional promo for one of our own, Rush, who is doing a stream tonight. He's doing a stream 8 o'clock Eastern time tonight called Static Shock: The Big Bang. It will be on tonight at 8 o'clock Eastern time, so give it a listen to if you're into that stuff, which I am. So stay tuned for that. Let's support each other as we grow this network. So on my way home, I said, you know, let me just quickly talk about this because it is part of the red pill. It's part of the expanding of our knowledge and the expanding of what they're telling us out there, what they're teaching us. And Leonard Nicholson, how you doing? Welcome to the show. I'm going to be doing a short stream, not a long 3-hour marathon like last night. It'll be a different flavor today. Just wanted to kill a little time before I take care of my affairs in the evening. Um, but as you can tell, the thumbnail is referring to the Batman, which the latest Batman movie that it was released a few weeks ago, to record numbers, made a lot of money. Also had some controversy, and I'm here to tell you that the controversy was kind of overblown, but very quickly, it was a very good movie. I loved it. I loved it a lot. Beautifully shot, well acted, um, and I'm looking forward to buying it when it comes out on Blu-ray. But I had hesitations going into seeing the movie because of what was talked about, and what was talked about specifically was the race swapping. And I'm overall not a fan of the race swapping stuff, and I'll get into that in a minute. But let me just keep it specific. I didn't have an issue with it with this movie. I thought the actor that played uh, Commissioner Gordon was very good. I thought he did an excellent job as Commissioner Gordon. I didn't care that he was black. He actually sold me on his interpretation of Commissioner Gordon. So it reminded me in a way of Samuel L. Jackson's interpretation of Nick Cage, Nick not Cage, Nick Fury. I'm sorry, Nick Fury. And Nick Fury in the comics was a white character, but he wasn't what you would call iconic. So race swapping that character wasn't a big deal, and as it turned out, it was a brilliant move because Nick Fury owned that character. I'm sorry, Nicholas. Excuse me, Samuel L. Jackson owned the character. That became his character, and since the Avengers movies, that character has been appeared in both comics and animated media as an African American character, thanks in large part to Samuel L. Jackson's iconic interpretation of the character. So there are times when race swapping does work if the actor in question is very talented and can sell the character. I don't believe it works when it comes to iconic characters. When you have characters that are iconically white, like for example Bruce Wayne and Batman. See, a character like Spider-Man, for example, and I think Rush did a stream about Miles Morales. They didn't create a black Peter Parker. They created a whole new character in Miles Morales for Spider-Man. So those are instances where you know race swapping either works or it's done in a way where it's not offensive to the lore of the character. Now, I want to show you guys something. I want to show you what Hollywood thinks of you when it comes to black characters and representation. Don't be fooled by what they're telling you. I'm going to show a link to Cosmic Book News. This was in relation to the Masters of the Universe TV series that was released by Netflix, which, in my opinion, was a butcher job. But one of the writers for the show, Ted Biaselli, was asked a question on a Facebook group. The question was asked by an African American person, by a black man, a fan. Where is it? Here it is. So the question was asked, why not create original characters? Ted Biaselli's answer was this. He says, I hear you. And that will indeed be a party of our story. I guess in part, but must have been a typo. But that will be indeed a part of our story too. But a big hurdle when you're introducing a new character to a line of so many well-established characters is that they are bound to be outsiders and harder to accept as canon for at least a while. Nobody gives a shit about Sir Laser-Lot. So, what the writers think of you in Hollywood is that they don't give a shit about you, so they have to give you what I would call a Scooby snack. They have to throw you a bone. They don't think that African American characters can survive on their own. How you doing, sweet lady? Welcome to the stream. We're discussing the subject of race swapping, and I'm sharing with you guys Hollywood's mindset behind African American characters. They don't think that African American characters can sustain themselves, so they have to race swap them from white characters to carry over that audience. In a way, to me, it's what I would call the white man's burden. If you guys are familiar with that term, white man's burden is it derived from the early teachings of evolution, the early 20th century teachings, and this is why one of the reasons why I disavow evolution, aside from the fact that it's scientifically false, it's also pretty racist. It tells you that African Americans or black people are incapable of taking care of themselves. So they need the white man's help, aka white man's burden, to help them. Mike from Boston, what's up? What's good? If you're into this content, please hit the like button and subscribe. And don't forget that tonight, 8 o'clock Eastern Time, Rush will be streaming here as well with regards to Static Shock. So give Rush a follow as well and help support his stream. Um, but the view of African American characters is that without the help of white writers or the white base of a already established white character, they don't think that black characters can sustain themselves. They need the white man's help, and that is a genuine problem. And that was one of the criticisms that was thrown at the Batman movie. Was another instance of a character, in this case, Commissioner Gordon, being swiped from white to black. But I'm here to say that that wasn't an issue when you watch the movie because the actor playing Commissioner Gordon, what's his name? I should know this. Jeffrey Wright. I'm sorry, Jeffrey Wright did a very good job. Very good actor, very good performer. He sold me on the role. Um, it was a good part. He did very well, and it didn't bother me. There are instances where the race swapping can bother you, and I'll get into some examples of it. But it wasn't here. And people are talking about how all the white characters are presented poorly. Meanwhile, all the black characters in the film were presented as noble and what have you. And I'm like, eh, I didn't see that here. It is a problem, but not with this movie. I didn't see it with this movie. It doesn't. That problem does exist. It goes back to the Matrix movies, but that's a discussion for another day. Um, but Hollywood doesn't think that black characters can sustain themselves, and there are examples where that is an issue. I'll give you one example, and this is not necessarily film related, although rumors are it will be film related. Take for example Iron Man, Tony Stark, Iron Man, Robert Downey Jr. Totally sold the role, made it iconic, and Iron Man uh, went from a B-list comic book character to an A-list film icon. So when people saw the Avengers movies and they saw Iron Man, their natural instinct is to go to the comic book shop and get a comic book from Iron Man because they want to get Iron Man merchandise. Well, what happened when they went to the comic book shop? They didn't find Iron Man. They found Ironheart, Riri Williams. And Riri Williams is a character who embodies the entitlement with modern females. The entitlement, like they don't they don't earn the wisdom. They don't earn the experience. They just inherit it, and that's to me that's insulting to women because it's almost like they throw you the bone. They throw the bone at you. So you go see an Iron Man film, you go to the comic book shop, and you get Ironheart instead, and you're like, wait, where's Tony Stark? Where's Iron Man? They throw you the bone, but they don't expect you to take on the hardship. They don't expect you to earn your stripes. They don't let the characters organically grow in the lexicon of modern day pop culture. They instead expect you to swallow whatever gibberish they throw at you because they don't think you're smart enough to understand when they're throwing bullshit at you. And that's a huge problem in entertainment, whether it's films, comic books, TV shows. And it's part of what I do on my end of YouTube is I talk about this stuff because it's a problem. And it's not just the race swapping, it's also the gender swapping. So like you go see Thor in the movie theaters and then you go to the comic book shop and what do you get? You get Lady Thor in the comic books. They're coming out with a Batgirl movie right now that's being produced. And they're throwing Michael Keaton as the 89 Batman, but they're throwing him in there for the sake of passing the mantle to a female Batman. Now, Batgirl is iconic. She is a canonical character, but what they're doing with her in Hollywood is, again, it's about subverting masculinity, about making men second place and destroying the strong male archetype. And I know I went from the race swap to the gender swap, but it's all connected. The Black Panther movie that's coming out, Wakanda Forever. And tragic how Chadwick Boseman passed without people knowing he was sick. Talented actor, and it's tragic because he was young, very young, and had a lot to offer, but he was taken from us. And Black Panther was his character. Well, the Wakanda movie Forever rumors are that they're going to replace the character and have the sister Shuri take on the mantle of Black Panther. So instead of casting a black man to take on the mantle of Black Panther, they're going to pass it on to the sister. And the rumors are that it's part of the plan to phase out the male characters and bring on the female characters. And this is a big problem. Again, it's about throwing you the bone and phasing out strong men, strong male characters. But I'm mentioning this because, as much of a problem as this is in entertainment, I didn't find the problem with the Batman. And what I want to do on this channel is, you know, talk about certain movies that I watch, or TV series. Well, I shouldn't say TV, more like streaming series that I watch, if I do watch them, and then review them for you to let you know if I think it undermines red pill, if it pushes the social Marxist racist bullshit, or gender politics, critical race theory nonsense, if it pushes any of that, or if it's legit good storytelling. In the case of the Batman, it's legit good storytelling. The woke stuff. For example, there's a line where Catwoman goes to Batman and talks about white privilege, and people were like, "Oh man, they're pushing this white privilege crap with this movie." But when you see it in the movie, it's Catwoman who's saying that. Catwoman, who's a flawed character, who's consumed by vengeance, who's consumed by bloodlust. She's saying that line to the Batman, who is, quote unquote, a white privileged character. But is he really white privileged? I mean, his parents were murdered. He's a shell of what people want him to be. He's just the Batman. He's not even Bruce Wayne. Bruce Wayne is just a name to him. He's a shell, and that's not something that money can buy. That's not the kind of privilege that money can buy. It's something that you gain growing up with experience, with social interactions, with family, friends. Bruce Wayne had all that taken from him with a single bullet, and it to me the line was ironic when Catwoman goes to Batman and talks about that. That's how I viewed it. I viewed it as, okay, it's a troublesome line, but who says the line? A troublesome character, not troublesome, but a flawed character. So it makes sense in the scheme of the context of the story being told, and who we're following. So don't let people talk about, oh well, that line is troublesome. It's who says it, and who it's spoken to, and in the context of the universe of the film. So I'm not saying that woke stuff isn't an issue. It is a major issue in movies, but not with the Batman. It definitely wasn't an issue with this movie. So I do recommend it. I recommend this movie. It is good storytelling. It's very good cinematography. I really loved it a lot. And again, the social engineering that's happening with movies, that's happening with our streaming series, that's happening in our popular culture, whether it's comics, comic books, movies, all that stuff. It's a problem. It's very subtle, but it's a problem. And I want you guys to understand that just because they substitute a white character for a black version of the character, it doesn't mean that the writers who did that respect you. They don't respect you. They think you're incapable of creating your own original characters or being your own original characters. They expect you to take on the trails and the path set forth by white characters. So you're borrowing legacies. You're not creating your own legacies. You're borrowing legacies. Personally, I would find that insulting. I would think, no, that's not what I want to do. And again, there are original black characters like Static Shock. Again, tonight, 8 o'clock Eastern Time, Rush will be streaming here. And Static Shock is going to be a subject of discussion with Rush. So give him a listen, follow him, and interact with him in the chat. But it's a problem that it's not that it can't be fixed. It can be fixed. But this is where you guys in the chat, you guys watching this, I want you to keep your eyes open on what the popular media is telling you, on what the movies are telling you, what these shows are telling you, what the comic books are telling you. All this is social engineering. and it's presenting a bigger picture of what the plan is. Not so much for your generation, but your kids' generation, and what they're telling your kids, what they're specifically telling men, and the undercutting of masculinity by calling it toxic masculinity, which is a bullshit term because it undermines a man's ability to be a leader without having to answer for people questioning his reasons and questioning uh, his direction. And I can tell you, it puts a lot of doubt in our sons, and they become very uncertain with what to do. And you get a generation of boys who become uncertain men. And what happens? They put all that burden on the women, and the women become frustrated with them. It's all interconnected. It's a subversion of our biological roles and our DNA. And you're like, well, how does a movie do all that? If you understand the power of propaganda, I don't know how many history buffs are in the chat or how many history buffs are watching this, but if you look at the Third Reich in World War II, Joseph Goebbels, he was one of Hitler's right hand men. He understood the power of propaganda. Hitler was a big fan of filmmaking. He loved movies, and he understood the power of it, of how it can influence people, how it can influence your mentality, your belief system. If you're very impressionable, you can make a movie that can turn you from one way of thinking to another in a drop of a hat, just by subtle nuances, whether it's in a character, whether it's in the writing, the story. A good writer who is trying to push that knows how to get you and hook you in just like that, and all of a sudden now your frame of thinking changes. That was the power of propaganda that Joseph Goebbels understood and did successfully during World War II. And there were a lot of like well-made movies that were financed by the Third Reich during World War II. Whether or not whether or not the stories were good, that's up for debate by filmmakers, scholars, and historians with regards to the content. But the techniques that were used, they're being used today in Hollywood. They've been used today in streams and in our books. They got it. They understood it, and that's where uh, these little subtle race swaps, these gender swaps happen. It's subversion. It's a way to undermine uh, your spot in society, not just as individuals, but as a community, as communities, I should say. And just keep your eyes open on that. Keep your eyes open. Focus on that. Focus on what they're telling you, what they're showing you. And I'll be doing more of these, and this is going to be a short stream, but I'll be doing more of these. I'll be sharing with you guys movies that I've seen, and I'll let you know what I think. Um, if you have any suggestions on what you want me to look at, I can take suggestions. If you guys think, hey, I want you to look at this movie, and you tell me if you think there's a message behind it, if it's subverting, the red pill, if it's subverting masculinity, if it's perverting femininity. Let me know what you think, and then I'll take suggestions and give you guys my thoughts and let you know what it is that what I think of it and what they're trying to tell you through very subtle means. And I think it's a good idea. Um, you know, uh, we can read the news and see what's happening and look at what's going on in our world. But the thing is this also, and this is another thing to keep in mind is that the news are very selective in what they're telling you. Like for example, how many people knew about Hunter Biden's laptop? I guarantee you, most of you didn't see much of that on your Facebooks, on your Twitters. I know y'all didn't see it on Instagrams, that's for certain. Maybe on your TikTok, but I doubt it. And what do I mean by Hunter Biden's laptop? Well, our current president, quote unquote, his son is not a good person. uh, his laptop had some images that stuff that he was involved in. Let's just say that it involved minors, and I'll leave it at that. And y'all know what we do to men who do unscrupulous things with minors. But I won't say because I don't want to get this channel struck. Let's just say you know what happens in Minecraft, and I'll leave it at that. But very quickly, again, tonight at 8 o'clock Eastern Time, Rush will be streaming here, and he'll go into Static Shock and all that stuff. So tune in and support the man and support his stream, and we'll be around to engage and hopefully increase in our knowledge. And for those of you watching who are comic book fans, I am a comic book creator. That banner you see on the bottom, it says roadwarriordrake.com. That goes to my eBay store, in which I have copies of my original book, Street Champion Road Warrior Drake. Very quickly, this is the shill part. So this is what I create. This is my graphic novel, Street Champion Road Warrior Drake. It's 110 pages. If you like manga, I have a manga version, also on my eBay store. It reads like a manga from right to left. So I had a hardcover copy, but that got sold out. That was one of my most popular uh, requests. I also have a little ash can featuring a crossover with my character Drake and another character from another person's comic book. So we have that going on there. So if you go to roadwarriordrake.com, you can buy a copy of that book, and it's gotten some good reviews, and people were surprised by it. If you're a fan of like underground comics, the style, as well as like the B movie style of storytelling, you'll enjoy this book. I don't just talk about popular culture; I actually produce content. There are people that talk about popular culture, and while they do a service, I feel like sometimes they don't really offer much in terms of substance. There are those that do, but some that don't. I can tell you, like, I have my point of view, but nobody's gonna listen to what I'm saying. At least not just that. So I want to just walk the walk and produce content and subvert the culture war and push good values, tell good stories, fun stories without propaganda, without any of the race, gender stuff. Just good stories and entertain people and just keep you all entertained and make you want to aspire to be good. You know what I mean? Like gone are the days when you would watch a good movie or a TV show, whether you were as a male or female, and you would watch something that would aspire, that would make you feel inspired to be great, greater than who you were. See, that's the importance of these characters, whether it's Spider Man, Batman, He Man, Superman, in some cases Wonder Woman, Shira, is you watch them and it inspires you to be better than who you are. You make that push to be better. That's why what they're doing with these characters, subverting them and doing the gender swap and what have you, is, in my opinion, evil because it's demoralizing a generation of kids, specifically our sons, into becoming what I would call soy boys. If you know what soy is, soy has a high level of estrogen. So a soy boy is someone who acts like an estrogen addict. Um, but that's part of what I do, and um, I will continue to talk about it here. I'll do these little short streams. I'm coming up with a 30-minute mark, so I'll probably cut it off here. But if this stream has opened your eyes, if it's inspired you, feel free to hit the like button. Feel free to comment. I'll be checking up here so often. So if you want to comment in the comment section, if you have a question or request, I will talk about it. I'll reply to you. I feel like this engagement is good. I feel like it's best to form, or not form, but enhance and strengthen this network and keep ourselves accountable and you know uh, help undo or subdue the social Marxist engineering that's being done in the guise of entertainment, quote unquote entertainment, I should say. Um, but thank you guys for tuning in. I appreciate your time and attention. And once again, and let me go ahead and just share the screen. Once again, tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern Time on the Libudo Network, we are going to be having an appearance from Rush. Did I just? Okay, hold on. There we go. Okay, hold on one second. I'm boomering the stream here. Okay, let me just stop sharing the screen. So, I think I left the the stream with which Rush was doing his stream tonight. But tonight, 8 o'clock Eastern Time. Stay tuned here, and let's give our guy a listen to and engage with him. So, guys, thank you for watching. I appreciate your time, and I appreciate you staying with me here. And I look forward to doing more of these here and interacting with you. And I wish you guys, in the words of Labudo, I wish you guys peace and positivity. May it come your way. And keep strong, keep alert, and always ask questions. And have a great rest of your day, folks. And I will leave you with one of my videos, very quick video to end the stream. This is a collaboration with my animation as well as the singing style of a gamer who goes by the name of Beautiful Like Shadow. And enjoy.
Alasmat Films isn't a gaming channel per se, but he supports gamers and he enjoys many realms related to gaming. He is a comic book author, a film director, and a very good friend.
So this human female on TikTok who says she don't need a man. She's independent AF. But then she says she has an OnlyFans. And I figured it out. She's absolutely right. She doesn't need a man. She needs lots and lots and lots and lots of men. This is why I'm not into bestiality.